Morning, everybody. Figured I would get a video in, prior to going to work, even though I was just left work like 10 hours ago. But I'm off tomorrow on a Monday. I don't get weekend days off. I'm one of the people they rely on the most, but they treat like shit. But that's a story for another day. What I want to talk about today is how INFJs are natural crisis managers. We're good in a crisis, which given my former life, the whole firefighter EMT thing was very important because you kind of deal with crisis all the time and people not thinking straight and dealing with emergencies, real emergencies, not emergencies like, oh my God, I can't find this suit, or oh my God, my tea time was moved back 15 minutes. Real crisis like, oh my God, the roof is coming in on us, the structure's not sound anymore, and we're running out of air, we're all gonna die. But why are INFJs good crisis managers? Well, there's several reasons for that. And I'll point out the obvious one, the one that I'm guilty of, and I'll point out some fault in myself because I'm self-aware and know my faults because I'm not a narcissist. I was just raised by one. A lot of INFJs, myself included, and particularly, fictional INFJs portrayed this way, we have a bit of a hero complex, which means, we kind of get a sense of purpose and adrenaline rush by running towards danger that most people run away from. Danger, particularly physical danger, doesn't really scare us because INFJs, and CF Joseph did a video on it, and I reached out to him afterwards because I'm a prime example of this, how INFJs have this weird thing where we, have our luck is in avoiding injuries or recovering from serious injuries quicker than the average person, like a gunshot wound to the leg and to the lung where you lose half your blood and you somehow live through it and you don't walk like Dr. House for the rest of your life, like this guy. Stuff like that. So we do tend to not fear physical injury, particularly if we're like defending someone we love, then all bets are off. INFJs, and we fall hard. We'll take a bullet for the one we love, no problems, without even a second thought. Dive on that grenade all day. But emotional pain is terrifying to us because our emotions, both positive and negative, are very intense and we feel them very deeply. There's no halfway for us, all or nothing, which can be a positive and a negative, a gift and a curse. But in a crisis, INFJs, because we're also not concerned about what other people think of us, except for whoever our potential love interest is at the time. And due to our extreme integrity, which holds us back in a lot of things in both personal and professional life, because we refuse to use people or step over people or stab people in the back or, be a fucking rat. Rat motherfucker, piece of shit, you're next. Little Joey Marlino impression. You kind of have to be from Philly to understand it. And probably be Italian American. But anyway, because we are not caught up in that group think, listen, that we won't hesitate to do the right thing in a crisis. And that could be not only putting yourself in danger, but speaking up against, the preppy douchebag brown noser who is just a good bullshitter, knows everything he has to networking and, screwing other people over, but he has power now that he's drunk on, and I mean drunk. Those kind of guys, we're not afraid to call them out regardless if we have truth and facts on our side. Stuff that they can't deny, stuff that they can't answer for, stuff that the average person would be like, you can't say that. Don't you know who that is? Some douchebag. We don't care. We're going to do it. It's the right thing to do. Or INFJs in a crisis, like if your friend has just been sexually assaulted by some big shot, in reality, has been photographer, director guy, an INFJ isn't afraid to call him out in front of everybody at the next photo shoot that's going on, right after he finds out. And then when he tries to play his whole big shot routine, that INFJ is not afraid to, beat him so bad that he left in an ambulance. Hypothetically speaking, not that I ever did that, Okay, I did. It was 2006. Statute of limitations is long since ran out. So, stuff like that. And it can be things like going public. INFJs are, in general, private people, particularly with our love life. We're never like the locker room talk kind of guys, but a lot of us, well, I don't think we are, being the boy in the girls club. Maybe that's more of a me thing, but I think in general we're very private people that way. The whole son of Lilith thing takes it to a new level with me. But anyway, because I spend most of my time around women, you know, sadly all platonically, because I can only be interested in one at a time, demisexual and all. It can be a bit frustrating from times, not because I have because the urge isn't there, but ooh, do you take a lot of shit for it, particularly if you're in the business, which, I'm at the low level, but I still am in the business. Anyway, so it could be something like that, like speaking out against somebody in a bad relationship, because that's something like, oh, you don't want to go there, personal business, you don't talk about that. No, if somebody's being abused, the INFJ is going to stand up and be the crisis manager and make sure the truth is known, because perhaps the person being abused has been threatened about speaking out. But, because a lot of times, particularly with a narcissist, they can exert that much control to where that person is afraid to not do what the narcissist want, for fear of what the narcissist will do, not only to them, but sometimes other people, or, ruin their career, things like that. I've seen it all. But an INFJ will be like, no, I'm going to call you out. Truth's going to come out. Truth is truth, and game on, here we go. I'm not afraid of you, kind of thing. And my personal favorite, INFJs aren't afraid to go public and, give up our private nature for the greater good, like going on the news in Washington, D.C. to speak about bullying, hazing, and sexual assault problems in a fire department that's been covered up because the perpetrators are members of the good old boys club, or old boys club for my viewers across the pond. Somebody have me come over across there. I want to see the British Museum already. Yeah. But that kind of thing. We'll step out of our comfort zone to do the right thing in that moment of crisis, perhaps in like the one I went through a few years ago, where there's a lot of people that want to speak up and nobody can be the one to step into leadership. INFJs will reluctantly step into leadership to create positive change and root out corruption and abuse. A famous fictional example of this by a Sigma INFJ male, who's also demisexual, but I'm taller and prettier, would be Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. He didn't want to be Lord Commander. He didn't want to be King in the North, but because he, was well respected, had integrity, had charisma, people chose to follow him. They knew he would do the right thing, so he reluctantly stepped out of his comfort zone to become that. He just wanted to make the world a better place. He just wanted to be a ranger in the Night's Watch, like a firefighter. He didn't want to, be some sort of political leader leading a movement, but people decided he was the best suited, the only one who could really do it. So he stepped out of his comfort zone and did it. That's the kind of thing in a crisis that an INFJ will do. That's why we're good crisis managers. Also, in terms of emotional crisis, our intuitive and empathic abilities really carry us there too. Because we can intuitively put pieces of the puzzle together of what somebody's not saying, fill in the blanks if they can't bring themselves to say the full story. I deal with this a lot. Again, I hang out with mostly females, and being an empath, I also feel what they're going through. I don't necessarily understand it, but I feel it's like, ooh, that's bad, that's dark. And in my case, because I'm pretty decent size, I'm 6 foot, like 170 pounds, and given my, feminine, intuitive, empathic nature, because those are considered feminine traits, I talked about that already, but given that, and, that I'm male in my size, I'm a crisis manager because, well, if what they're telling me may lead to a violent confrontation between me and some douchebag, well, I'm, suited that I have a pretty decent shot at succeeding in said violent confrontation. So being walking paradoxes that we are has its drawbacks, especially when in terms of people understanding us and giving us a fair shot, or trying vainly to stereotype us, which cannot be done. But our uniqueness, our eccentricities, got it, does make us good crisis managers for those various reasons. So I hope that's helpful and enlightening. And if you have an INFJ in your life and if you're in crisis, likely they can help. They can shed light and make you perhaps see truth that you are not willing to accept, but you must. Oh, you must. So like and subscribe, watch my older videos, help the channel grow. I gotta go to work.